good morning, good evening, wherever we find una the world. This is Mohammed Shulun coming to una from the United States. I appear today with my co-host, Mr. Victor Mengot. And of course, this show is coming to una from Canada, where our producer resides. So today, March 1st, 2026. We welcome you back. Thank you for listening. And please make as much contribution in terms of suggestions or ideas as the show progresses. So now, today, we'll get a few things that we will touch on. But before I start with that, let me just go ahead and just give you the regular numbers they move for Richway or the sources they move for Richway. One I can normally call with just in case when I get a need for call, or of course when I say this is a live show, so you can participate by calling in or just sending a written comments. So let me just give you a few numbers. You know now one number would deal with usually. And that number then the WhatsApp number, which is universally acceptable. So +1 343 997 5828 +1 or 1 343 997 5828. If you call from anywhere, you could be able to reach me. All you have for doing for call a number there. You may meet some people on the line who they on wait. If so, we'll do our best for keep people on for just 3 minutes. And then if they get something else for, well, I say keep people on in terms of when we answer the phone, let them limit them comments or arguments or presentation for 3 minutes. So people are not going to be on the line to wait for too long. After that, if they get anything else or more for say, they can call me back. So we just want to keep it moving. Okay? So the WhatsApp number I just indicate to now, 1 343 997 5828. In addition to that, say, then they carry we on a radio station in Freetown, 91.9 FM. So that radio station there, for you for be able to get them, you for download the VOS app. Because this, this station and a VOS, a name. So you get for download the VOS app. For download that app there, for be able to listen on the radio, you get for do Google, you forget for go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and download the VOS app. When you download the VOS app, you will be able for your read 91.9 FM clearly. And well, depending in Freetown, this is if you download that from here, I'm sure you might be able to catch the Freetown station. But the one with the Freetown, they should be able to, but the app is necessary to be able to access the radio station. In addition to that, then they carry we on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. So if you go on YouTube, VOS television, you put that in, if you'll be able for reach way. If you go on Facebook, VOS television, you should be able for reach way at this moment. And if you go on X, formerly Twitter, you should be on VOS television again, you should be able for reach way. And the way the apps access VOS TV, now VOS TV, VOStelevision.com. www.vostelevision.com. The radio station too, you can go on www.vosradio.com. Okay, so you will be able to reach we now then medium here. What would they talk about? Then we also get what you call the diaspora site. When a VOSdiaspora.org. VOSdiaspora.org. And that one they not to .com .org, unlike the other one them. And then we call them now a non-profit organization, the VOS Helping Hand. It's a VOS non-profit organization. Now program they try for raise money for picking them, where they go school and salon, where them parents not get the financial ability for back them up, for pushing them through school. So for help with whatever little bit we're able for raise, we always encourage people and for please send in what you can to vosdiaspora.org. And then of course, anything we involve contribution, you are free to just call VOS, they will put you in charge of who is in charge, and then everything, any question you get will be answered. So we strongly encourage you now for do that. Okay, so going back to the thing that we want for talk about today, there are many things we get on the program, and of course, me able presenter or me able colleague, Mr. Victor Mengot, go touch on the issues that we want for talk about. But I know say we go touch on the recent border tension between we and Guinea. And there is a trending thing that is worth touching on. There's a thing about the $124 million Lungi center, social, congressional, whatever they call it, center where the government they propose, it will cost the country $124 million. And we will touch on that. And then we'll go talk about some of the main things then where I go yield to me colleague and my co-host, we'll go tell you now what you will talk about today. So to you, Mr. Mengot.
Well, Fambulem, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. And as usual, I don't come for join me colleague, when I'm at the lead. Now this program where we don't do a dual act for years. And this program, what we can do, we can look at issues the way they trend social media, especially where it relates to Sierra Leone, when our country, or it relates to the region, when the one we want to deal with today now ECOWAS, or things where they happen at the continent, where people are concerned about. So waiting been there, now two to one look first, because the first one very important. Now this border disputes and border management between Sierra Leone and Guinea. We don't hear them for long time. We don't dip on this one from time immemorial. And also recently, we've been get this situation about encroachment, not encroachment, now that area around Falaba, where they arrest some of the Guinea soldier them. Sorry, we Salon soldier man, them the security salons, man them and OSD. Where they say, now two things. The Salon on one side, the commentators in our social media say the Guinea security forces them, then cross the border and can what you will call say take we security people them, abduct them, carry them go Guinea, and we all see video where they show them in a very disrespectful manner, put in a gun. The crowd of people they watch them and say then go charge them for violation of border. So now that we can't touch much pan, we go look at the various things them. Waiting at the international treaty, then we deal with border control. We also go look at waiting at the ECOWAS law them, and some of the other things that where the international body they don't put together for help we manage the border. Bearing in mind, say, the border between Sierra Leone and Guinea is about 700 kilometers. You get established border points, where the established border points will get, where all man know, now the one at Balamuya, through Cambia, we get the one around Koindu, You get one at Falaba, where people and they talk about. I go get for Rob Much Panda and they show waiting we've been doing now. So one go through all that and then the second part, now also it relate to AU. Now this announcement we'll get, where he said the president, through the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Finance will present bill in Parliament for talk.
Unfortunately, it looks like Miko's kind of
No,
freeze.
I don't come back. Yeah.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. We then talk about one complex should have been in a salon, when a multi-purpose complex in Lungi, when a conference center, where that conference center there, it forgets presidential villa, it forget hotel, it forget a place where they go to host international meeting. But we also will not get that money there. But again, governments say they want bill them within 6 to 9 months, and again, then they go to a Turkish company or go take a loan of 124 million. So we go for look at waiting the law say, now two law they now, the constitution, how will they get loans, and waiting at the purpose for managed loans, then with the public-private partnership, because they're saying a public-private partnership. Now they want to do. So now that's what we want to talk about. So before we go further, let's play a video for show waiting happened last week, where we don't come towards the end. We then free the soldier man the way they may all. But now not to the end of it all. So one show how we for try, now that discussion they want get now, for let this not happen again. Over to control room, let's play the video for we.
The border between Sierra Leone and Guinea, scene of tensions earlier this week between the two neighbours. In a move aimed at de-escalating the situation, Freetown said Conakry on Friday released 16 soldiers and police officers it had arrested on Tuesday. Sierra Leone said the men were constructing a border post and another facility at the frontier town of Kaliere when members of Guinea's armed forces arrived and captured them. Guinea, for its part, said that several dozen armed Sierra Leonean soldiers had entered its territory without authorization, prompting its security forces to apprehend them. The two countries share a 700-kilometre border, and territorial disputes date back to Sierra Leone's civil war, which ended in 2002. Guinea at the time deployed troops to help fight rebels. This latest incident took place in an area that has been contested for more than 20 years, which Sierra Leone claims, but where Guinea still has soldiers on the ground.
Yes, sir. With that introduction, I don't know if you have Rob Mott on this introduction, then I will take people and through some of the international treaties them, and something that we don't do for control, we bother them, we actually, and what we don't do, and what we not do yet, and how we stop all this problem.
The question we want to ask you, Mr. Mengot, do you know which is the protocol? Because if there is a common boundary, usually most international agreements involving boundaries can also deal with what you could call a buffer, a neutral area, where just the presence of either party on that buffer day no go trigger what you could call an offensive, or hostile act will go lead to arrest or confrontation. So my question, now all the three borders then with Guinea where you name, do you know if we get a buffer? And if so, what are the length of them? Then I want two, such occurrence is not for even to come up in today's world. Because if we get common boundary, we should be able to monitor them, the boundaries them electronically. By now, the science is just very, very, very up to date and equipped. And when we talk about cyber, instead of we dilute the strength of cyber law back home by going after free speech, in Sierra Leone, we probably could better interpret to cyber laws for monitor a situation like this, you know. And so I just wonder if what is the successive governments, not only this current government, but previous governments, the Ernest Koroma government, I think the Kaba government, this seems to me like a simple solution that should not be left to or in the hands of soldiers monitoring the borders. There should be a clearly defined regulation where you go tell soldiers in the respective countries who say how far they go, and the protocol involved that if there is suspicion of a violation, there should be what you will call an emergency number where whoever is in charge on both sides should call their superior at the respective countries and say, this is what you observe at the border. What do we do? Or we want for put them on camera, let una see, and so on and so forth. But it looks like we've left modernization behind. We've left responsibility behind. We've left international law behind. We've left it in the hands of ordinary foot soldiers who get, by implication, the discretion for decide whether there has been a violation of, or there's an encroachment, not a violation so much, whether there is an encroachment on the side of the other party, that then at the hands of the ordinary soldier. And then even when it's left at the hands of the ordinary soldiers there, it looks like it's a free-for-all, you know, a vigilante kind of thing, that the soldier did not get any kind of prescription in terms of what do they do to temporarily restrain the other party and things they are in violation until superiors come into play. Because what we really say happened to the Sierra Leone soldiers, them should have never happened under proper protocol, under a clearly well-defined agreement. And if that happens, it should have taken a matter of minutes, if not no more than an hour, for authorities and for come into to be involved for prevent the exportation or transportation of we soldiers them, let alone violation of human rights and all that, and the way the Guinean soldiers engage in detention, maltreatment, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm saying all of this so you will educate you a little bit in terms of because our priorities them look kind of wrong somehow. Let we understand why the Guinean soldiers them arrest two soldiers them, assuming that the Guinean soldiers are right that we young soldiers be then at their own side. Let's assume that's what happened. But what job description do they have in terms of handling a situation like that, if at all those are the facts? You see, so because again, like I can say, Sierra Leone, we like for brag about all this book we learn, but when it comes time for show, which we don't learn, we know we have very little for show for that. Because how could one country arrest another country's soldiers? We're not a war, then these are not warring factions. These are just border patrols. And then how could encroachment on the side of the other side, trying to install a border post, should lead up to a set of soldiers being arrested and detained and maltreated, to be made to sit on the ground and all that kind of stuff. So with that said, let me just try for get some kind of analysis because Mr. Mengot will cite some of the regulations and the laws then and the treaties, and we will go from there. So back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And let assure we listeners and say, and in presenting this program, I will make references them to global treaty, regional treaty, and my own personal experience working on joint border operations in the ECOWAS region and waiting na the regional treaty. Let's start first for why we for secure we border. Because we know say in West Africa, not Sierra Leone to the only country in Guinea, most of we boundaries them been created by we colonial masters them. So they get map them. It happened between Nigeria and Benin, Ghana and Togo, Nigeria and Cameroon, Sierra Leone and Guinea. So we then put in Guinea context. So let's start first with the UN Security Council. Because then they talk about, say, because of the common boundary, we can forget joint border operations and there are treaties and laws that we deal with that. How for set them up, waiting at the jurisdiction, how you do dispute resolution. Now all that I can explain to family. So, first we get the Security Council Resolution 2000, where that did make in 2011. They will get Resolution 2062, when at 2012, and Resolution 2066, again at 2012. So what's in that resolution they about? It deals with regional and sub-regional responsibility. What do I mean by regional and sub-regional? Regional na ECOWAS, when na 15 member states. Sub-regional na Mano River Union, when na 4 countries them, Salon, Guinea, Liberia, and Cote d'Ivoire. What they say we for the ECOWAS and the MRU for develop with the support of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel region. Why? Because we know so they get boku trouble in the Sahel region. And who's how they call the Sahel region now? Now the region between we were in West Africa and the Arab states them, where you call the Maghreb states. That you talk about Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, we're a part of Africa. So then say, we for work with this UN office for get strategy for address the threat of cross-border movement. Because you know, say people and they move between them boundary here. You get various movements. You get people that will live around the area, like Salon and Guinea, whether they're the local and they speak the same language. We don't get beacons that we go show say this is not the boundary. So inside then they will get boundary posts. And I will talk about one way they may not establish in that Falaba area there in 2022 under this government. So the reason why we forget these joint border posts and management now for stop the movement of armed groups, things for do with illicit trafficking, child trafficking, and also other problem them. One, why they ask you for get joint border posts? Now for protect with national security. And for know how we they cooperate with we neighbor them. Also, the ECOWAS get laws that will deal with free movement of citizens and goods and traffic. Now that makes sure we get that biometric identity card we don't get now. So if you're an ECOWAS citizen, you get that biometric identity. You can move now the 15 ECOWAS states using your identity, and you're entitled for then another state for over 90 days. But we need border control. Then we also get for look at regional trade. You know, so we get a lot of traders where they come out Salon go buy goods na Guinea and vice versa. We also get Guinea vehicle them, trucks the way they can we port them for can take goods them for cargo Guinea. Then we talk about public health. Because remember when we been get Ebola, we need border control for prevent transfer of communicable disease. And also it also extend to animal movement. Because you know, so we get a lot of nomadic states, especially around that Kabalak area, where people and they move cows, them, even that Koinadug area. So now the reason and they make, we get forget this joint border operation. So then now that's what in the UN say. But now for put it in context, the one law, when are the regional law, now the ECOWAS Supplementary Act, where all the heads of states, they may go sign in 2013 for create this joint border operation. So now I explain what in that they mean, the objective. Then they under Article 2 of the treaty. Joint border post, we mean say the act and the law it apply to everything for do with official border control, facilitation, management function, joint border operation for the purpose of services, and you mentioned something. So the onus is on every country for do like how they do cartographic mapping for census. You do your mapping, you identify your area, the coordinates, and communicate with your neighbor. Because we notice when them in check with soldier man them, the Guineans, them press release with them inputs, then show the exact coordinates of who side and capture with soldier man them. And then say if you take the coordinates with them GUI, the area fall, it fall inside Guinea.
All right, Mr. Mingot, I think he freezed again. Wanted to go through that and they will probably, he need to be.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So that area, they fall inside Guinea, right? So now that's not the problem. So this now the Supplementary Act we'll get. One, it say the establishment and objective of border posts, it said the community for establish joint border posts in a common border area. And when you don't identify your zone, you get what you call areas of common control. So that area of common control are like the buffer zone. Because you there America, you know say like we there between
Canada,
America
Mexico.
and Canada, you get the 49th parallel. 9 divide the two continents. But you get buffer zone within them continent and then get so now the same thing. So now all that they will get for establish. And I can talk about waiting now the main thing then we'll get for do for get this border management and border operation. So let's stop there. Let's see if you get any question for ask before I continue.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions. This cartographic marking, waiting, I don't understand. If the Home Office, meaning the colonial masters them, both in France and in England, if they have the markings, couldn't that or shouldn't that be the primary source to go to when there is a dispute with respect to boundaries, you know? And then you say the Guineans them show is the cartographic marking, which should say we own solely as a inside Guinea. Now, then the next question to that is, assuming that's correct, what could, if we don't, do we have in existence, because first of all, the people who put the treaty together should have foreseen, should have anticipated that people would stray beyond boundaries them. So the question is, did they have a situation or a prescription when something like this happened? Somebody end up in the other person's area. How this matter should be resolved, because the thing about arrest and detention, and in fact, being made to sit on the ground, I think all of that punishment. So do I understand that they don't have any prescription covering that if such a situation should arise, it's in the hands of every and soldier for those decide how to handle the situation? I'm just a little confused.
Okay.
So back
now, let me tell you how these things happen. For instance, it happened in other countries, the one that work on border security and border control. When we been go sign that treaty today, normally, this is a land border we talk about. If we notice, Bokutende, where we government can go sign bilateral air services agreement treaty, which means we get common agreement with another country for let them plane the kind of country, let we don't plane, then they go to the country. All the agreement, then they can go parliament. So this supplementary act should have gone to our parliament. They recognize them. Then we use the provisions for engage the Guinean authority. Remember say, you get established borders them, with problem no day. Like the border na Gendema. Yeah? We will all know. Then a Liberia and Salon. We get border na Balamuya. We na through Cambia. We na Salon and Guinea. Then also, interesting enough, in 2022, the United Nations Peace Building Fund be formed, they fund 2 new joint border posts on November. And at that time, the Sierra Leone Minister of Internal Affairs, Honorable Pandanoa, and the Minister of Territorial Administration and Decentralization of Guinea, Honorable Mori Konde in Falaba district, that same Falaba, and Farana Prefecture, when at the same Farana place, along the Sierra Leone Guinea border. Then put a border post there, joint border post there, and they establish a management and cross-border cooperation along the border, where you can get the International Institute of Migration, we then self-go there, because all NTN for stop even child trafficking, and then Temple Run. Temple Run away people and they go for try for go Europe. So we get them border than this. So what in the law say? The law say around them border posts there, and we'll be listening to the military spokesman. He said we already get them. You get border management committee. So in that particular area there, I don't tell you so get a joint border post, but the area is so wide. So if we get a joint border management committee, why would they get a committee then? The committee involve the administration, now the 2 countries then. Like in Guinea, this area where they talk, they call and soup, you get the Farana, and they will get the Falaba area. So the local administration, people them, then for lays, then the law say, or the treaty say, the management committee are for the meet regularly. And each management committee forget a focal point person. So when they want to do anything, then go liaise with their counterpart in the other country. Now, where I think this mistake was made, remember say, when you talk about border control, you get several agencies that were involved, right? they establish border agencies them. Now make sure you get rules of engagement, you get line of communication. That's why you have the management committee. Because other than the agencies they're waiting at border. Number one, you get NRA in the partner Sierra Leone, National Revenue Authority, where then they under customs. Customs they under them. You get ONS, Office of National Security. You get Port Health. When they deal with things for if you need vaccination. Remember first of all, you get a yellow card with the travel. You get immigration. Yeah? Then you get Drug Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Then you get an agency where they deal with phytosanitary. Then under Ministry of Agriculture. We down in there for control the movement of plants. Because down there you can get contamination. Then under that same ministry there, you get veterinary people. This now for mostly then cattle them, because cattle disease, one time in they would unlock with border with Guinea because of then stray cattle they will get disease. So you get all the organization in the board. What you get for happen between all the organization, you get for get a lead organization. We 9, they control everything. So in this case, waiting this happen. Now one green agency been there when are the soldier man them, and when you get soldier man where you go, soldier man they act according to the command from in superior officers them. What we knew that was they tell and say, okay, I go set up a border post. But before that never happen, now that make sure you get this act. They mean for them communicate through the border management committee will get
Precisely.
with the Guineans and say, well, listen, one can set up a border post. And then they agree who side the border post for there. Because if we set up a border post now with country, within the boundary, Guinea don't get nothing to do with that. As long as we don't inform them. Because what you do with the same soldier man and they who are bearing arms. But it appears that the Guineans they not be know of this thing where for take place, because the Sierra Leonean soldier man then go put their flag and then they build the post. According to the Guinea, their own press release where they put, they say this position where they go put that flag there, it was 1.4 kilometers inside the Guinean border. Then give the coordinates. But when we Salon people they respond, they not dispute that. Then if I tell SSF, look, who said we soldier man and they, this was the coordinate, this is suicide them and they go put that flag there. This day within the boundary of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone never tell we say, the side where the soldier man and puts the flag. Now within Sierra Leone border, giving real, actual data and coordinates. Because now even with the mobile phone they use, you can get, they all get GPS. You can even tell who's how you did. Global positioning system. So now that's not the confusion, a lack of communication, and also institutional lapses because there are no coordination. Because normally the military and the SSD, then they for provide protection to the other agencies. Border control normally for a joint management between immigration and National Revenue Authority. So within them two agencies there, you get forget a focal point person. Then of course you get the local administration as well. When for liaise with the counterpart na Guinea. Now makes all in how they talk so. It was surprised for no say Sierra Leone and Guinea not get no bilateral agreement based on this supplementary act for how they manage the border. So let's stop there, but then I will go into the act, let's talk waiting the act say. Because under Article 6 of the act, it talk about demarcation and security of common control zones. So let's hold on there. If you want, I can explain that part in the act, the Supplementary Act.
Oh yeah, while you do that for we, you can just tell we if they get any subheading with respect to disputes, because disputes will arise. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
then get subheading. Okay. You want to go to the dispute resolution and talk about this demarcation and security of common control zone?
Let's talk about the demarcation and security of the common control zone.
Article 6, it say, I go read them. It said the common control zone include access road, thereto shall comprise specifically demarcated and secured physical areas as should be more fully described in a document. So in other words, we can forget that documents there, when at the bilateral agreement, we identify the common control zone, including area. And he said the contents of that document there now mutually agreed upon between the community and relevant adjoining states. So if we don't get that common control zone there, right, it could have been sanctioned by the ECOWAS Commission when they get the act. So like, we will get this problem now. ECOWAS go able to get them and then go come quick and intervene and say, well, look, this thing happened within a common control zone. And when you didn't have the common control zone, then get what they call areas of jurisdiction and rules of engagement. Normally, in the common control zone, they don't allow either party forget security forces with the bear arms. And that's the confusion there. So let's stop here and that first. Then you get under Article 7, exclusive use areas within common control zone. So it said the management authority shall ensure that exclusive use of areas in the common control zone are clearly marked and identified through the display of official signs. So there are no official signs there. There are no marking. So there is no way we sojourn them for no usai na the boundary between Sierra Leone and Guinea. So these are the things we haven't put in place. Then it says under that, the officers of the adjoining states now then therefore decide entry and exit and keep order within their exclusive areas in the common control zone. So the officers of this member state also then therefore decide the law enforcement agency. So you see, all that thing and they is good for Sovereign Management Committee. But if you not put the mechanisms in place and document them, and the two countries they agree, then that particular document, when a part of the bilateral treaty, will define the common control zone, then a ECOWAS, in case you have disputes. So let's stop there, and if you get any further question, I'll go before.
Yes, sir. Okay. When does the Mano River Union, first of all, it seems to me, based upon what you explained, that ECOWAS gets, well, I don't assume, who would I get original jurisdiction? Because you say Mano River, then you get ECOWAS. ECOWAS cover a larger bodies of membership, about 14 countries, where Mano River are 4. So, but would I get original jurisdiction in terms of a dispute resolution? If there is confusion, then get, number one, do they have overlapping authority? In other words, there's no distinction between ECOWAS, the authority over them member state here, or do they run concurrently with that of Mano River Union? Do they have concurrent authority over the countries then? I'm a little bit confused. I just try to get some distinction. When there's a dispute, like what happened between the Guineans, would I go to Mano River or ECOWAS? Would I go to force?
Or it depends on the type. Okay. It depends on the type of disputes them where you get. You get dispute them in 3 levels. Now that makes so then say the countries them for actually get, like what I be explained, bilateral agreement, which is ratified by the parliament of both countries, right? That bilateral agreement within that agreement it show how the neighboring communities then for coordinate. So if you get a dispute force, if you get focal point person na the local area, then they determine and force at the local authority level between the two communities them. Like with district commissioner them, and in Guinea they get what they call sous-prefecture. Yeah. So now the first point of dispute resolution now between the two communities them. But that has to be documented. The next point, because we get a peace treaty and cooperation treaty, if not something for do with peace treaty, the Mano River Union can coincide. But any issue which is defined by the act, as what they tell you, so common control, joint border operation, the dispute resolution get to go through ECOWAS. So you get local community settlement, you get government to government settlement, you get sub-regional settlement, then you get regional settlement. So the dispute resolution not to one size fits all. It depends on which the nature of the dispute.
Okay. It seems to me, this is just, go ahead. You're about to say something.
Okay. Let's go back to Article 10. It will make it easy. We talk about conduct of border patrol. Because it says officers of the adjoining state shall be empowered to carry out border control strictly within the common control zone at joint border posts. So, first, you do your survey. You get your signposts. You identify your common control zone. You decide which agency they take the lead. That agency then they get a focal point person where they liaise with in counterparts na the other states for past information and also for make sure say they settle community disputes. Then he said the officers of the adjoining states now then they exercise control now this common patrol. For the avoidance of that, the control includes exercise of any powers of arrest. You see, so that power of arrest they will happen if we been get that defined common control zone there and institutions that were established for liaise with each other, then the Guinean soldiers them not be for arrest any of we soldier man them without making reference to the agency when at the lead agency under the common control zone agreement. It also include things that are for search, then seizure, like when they seize we upon them, detention of persons. So for instance, if you commit crime within that common control zone, within the law say, then they take you go to the nearest law area of judicature. Now make sure if you notice, when they apprehend the Salon Sojamanden, then they go to the courts, na Guinea, then a Farana. Right? Now the courts now they refer to say them people here don't encroach now with territory. Then the courts na Farana now, because the national government is not involved, they refer them to Conakry, they transfer them to Conakry when at the higher jurisdiction. Now through Conakry now we Minister of Foreign Affairs, then go liaise before they release them. So you can see the problem, watching that they explain all these things, now because we have not put systems in place, we not identify the institutions that way for be involved, we not get that bilateral agreement there for talk about chain of command, lines of communication, and areas of jurisdiction.
All right. I was just going to comment that it seems to me where we have two organizations, ECOWAS and Mano River Union, where they deal with countries. It will seem to me, then before make for the four countries them where they under Mano River, this same law, these same rules, they should have just made it the same thing for Mano River as they do for the ECOWAS side in terms of violations, treaty, and everything. But give the four countries them their own requirement for dispute resolution. It could be different from the other 10 in the sense that the Mano River country them, let them get an original jurisdiction, whereas one for judicial economy, instead of taking Mano River dispute, boundary dispute, going to ECOWAS, a dispute that Mano River, with an organization of its own, should have the primary or original jurisdiction for settled dispute among Mano River countries then. Instead of leaving it up to ECOWAS and get ECOWAS involved, I think the first order of business, the first step, should be Mano River Union go to Mano River first. Only if Mano River cannot resolve it, they should go next to the ECOWAS system, where also include Mano River, but they include 10 other countries that are not members. I doesn't talk how they should have made it easy, because it looked like what you get from
that makes something clear. Yeah. Mano River Union not get any treaty or act where bind the four people where relates to joint border management and operation.
And that's my point. My point is they should have had it. So Mano River Union could deal with that primarily and not burden the ECOWAS body with a dispute, because
yeah, but
like if we fall a neighbor, if four of us are neighbors, when we get, first of all, we try to settle with dispute among we boundary line among we self. You approach your neighbor approach you, wanna talk about that and see if it's workable. You just know the grab, your next door neighbor, you just go to court without bringing it to your attention that there's some transgression and that kind of things. My point, just a matter of administrative convenience and efficiency. What exists among the Mano River Union countries and what exists among the ECOWAS countries should also parallel something like that, wherefore exists now the Mano River. So because some of them disputes between Mano River countries, and like we in Guinea, we belong to the Mano River, we could settle it within the Mano River context without going to ECOWAS, is my point. Why
yes,
not
you're
Mano
right,
River
but what you see, the point I'm making is, yes, now make sure I say, when it comes to dispute resolution, it depends on the nature of the dispute, right? And the law they refer to. Now make sure at first, you start at local level. Now that makes sure then say you forget joint committees. Then joint committee, then they work at local level. Now then they determine the administrative measures when necessary for the implementation of the joint border post and anything that common control area. So the assumption is that at that local level, it could be solved. But the local level then get empowered from either a bilateral or multilateral treaty. Who said the multilateral treaty come? Which I agree with what you say. Now under Mano River Union. So after the bilateral or multilateral, because we get areas them where you get common boundary between Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. We get areas them
like Kwendu.
Yeah, like Kwendu. We get areas them where na Guinea and Sierra Leone no more. We get areas them where na Guinea and Liberia no more. So the only country, Cote d'Ivoire, we not get boundary with Cote d'Ivoire. Right? So
correct.
You get local, you get local administrative measures for manage them at local level. You get bilateral measures we go be Sierra Leone and Guinea. You get multilateral measures, we go deal with Mano River Union one, which, as you rightfully say, now that makes so, if you notice when this dispute happen, now Mano River Union issue a press release. But ECOWAS not issue a press release. ECOWAS na the body of last resort. Now, one, if we're not able to solve them locally, we go solve them bilaterally. If we're not able to solve them bilaterally, we go solve them multilaterally within the sub-region. If we're not able, then we can go to the regional office. So Mano River Union don't come in now. And why they come in now? Now, because to date, even though we get joint management committees, that has not been legalized because we don't get any bilateral agreement between Sierra Leone and Guinea on joint border operation. So that is where the missing link is.
Correct. And that's a shame. That's a shame. Because the boundary dispute between me and Guinea has been going on for about 20 years now, and we still don't have something like that in place. Okay. So that's a shame. So you just wonder, you blame the governments. And with all them PhD there, we'll get with the lead departments and international law, and we get so many bookmen, you would think all bases will have been covered. Yeah, but
okay, now that makes so, if you remember, say earlier on, I referred to, right, in November 2022, right, under this government, through the facilitation of the United Nations Sahel region, yeah, they may get an agreement between the Falaba district and the Farana prefecture, and I saw the French they call them, where they build a joint border post and operation done in a local arrangement, right? After that 2022, they what we been for do? We been for look at all the areas them where there is likely to be disputes, because we need too much expect for international body for can solve the problem.
Yep.
So what you for do, once we don't get down there as a pilot, it is now up to the government to look at all areas where there's boundary between we and Guinea and pass a bill through parliament, where parliament will authorize the government of Sierra Leone for enter into bilateral agreements with Guinea for make sure say all the Tiawa talk about areas of jurisdiction, common control zone, boundary demarcation, signs. Because if you look now, I'll give you an example. You do America, no so? When they cross go America, they go Canada. You know they get sign where they tell you say this na United States territory, this na Canada.
Yeah, you do.
I'm sure that is the same in Mexico.
Yes.
In the established crossings, we get them. Like place like Balamuya, between Guinea and Sierra Leone, you get them. You see the sign. Welcome to Sierra Leone, welcome to Guinea. You go Liberia yourself, we get them. At Gendema, go water side. But where the problem is, now there unofficial crossing points there, like Yenga, like some of these areas, Falaba. So that's why it is necessary for now we do that territory demarcation, put signs where possible, liaise with neighbors them, and get an agreement, whether agreement there is actually sanctioned by Mano River Union as a sub-regional body, and then ECOWAS. That is what we don't have. And that is why we will continue to have disputes. For instance, the acts talk about common control zone. We don't have them. So if we get common control zone, then you know say, we not just go put flags on side. Because that common control zone are like a buffer between the two countries. So there's a lot of work we have to do.
All right. Yeah, I think we
So
can
is
move
there
on
anything
to...
more?
No, not from my
Okay.
from my point. Yeah. And let me just remind the audience that the lines are open, they are free to call. So we can move on to the
So-
next topic.
Okay. Let account to 128 acts for our finish up. Right?
All right. Yeah.
Then Article 56. Now the Supplementary Act. Now deal with dispute resolution because you don't ask about them.
Yeah.
It said any dispute that may arise in the interpretation, application, and implementation of this act and any subsidiary regulation shall be resolved by and between the member states amicably in the spirit of friendship and cooperation. So that is what we've done now with this issue with Guinea. We make the release to Sojaman. Then it says member states shall in resolving dispute primarily be guided by the need to effect empowerment objectives of this act. When a joint border management, getting the institutional liaison, also gets border management committee, define lines of communication and rules of engagement.
Just hold
Then
one
you go to
second.
number
May I-
3.
May I
Yeah.
interrupt you, Mr. Mengo? Now just take a call. Then
Yeah.
just hold your touch, please.
Okay.
Hello, caller. What's your name? What's you call
Yeah.
from?
My name is William from USA.
Yes, Mr. Williams. Welcome, sir. Thank you for calling.
Yes, Mr. Is that Mr.
Shillon.
Shillon?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shillon and Mr. Mengot.
Good afternoon.
My two good friends.
Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Mr. Mengot, I give you 100% credit when you explain in details how to manage boundaries. What a credible man you be. You there outside salon. You dey explain in details to the people the way responsible how to handle management of border. What a credible man you be. It's a shame. I mean, they say square peg in a round hole. Now we get there. The other way they manage them. Square peg in a round hole. What a shame to them. Great shame. I hope to when they listen this, they would have bowed down and head at the table. But they're not get shame. They totally not get no shame at all. Because if they manage the border well, then they would get the kind of problem there. Say the social man and they go cut to the social man, they can't go. What a disgraceful to Salon people there. What a disgraceful. Shame to the president who called himself saying a brigadier. And also shame to the vice president. And also to the Minister of Externals, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Shame to them. What a shame. Look at the other man when they just approved. The Electoral Commissioner. Can you imagine? That man they danced in a tree because they approve you for the job. It is a shame. Look the man, they dance their teeth. Because they approve them, because they approve them for the job where they get. Well, me don't want them. If you bring them, Kone don't take your own go. Kone don't make your own munku go. But with the one them. If you venture, make that nonsense we're gonna make, you go get a big surprise. If you don't get example to Ifo Ali, you see how Ifo Ali will come out? So they may expect not to say be. If you get a great example, but with the one and with the water, could you? If you make that nonsense, we're gonna make. If you say to for that, you will get a big surprise. They say,
All right.
that you always say,
Mr. Williams, the buzzer, let's go off.
and act wisely. I bleed on that. Mr. Sino and Mr. Bacon. I bleed on what did they happen at Salon? I bleed.
All right, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your submission, sir. The time is up. I just want to round up now because this Article 56, where they deal with dispute resolution, the third subparagraph, now I'll let Mr. Shilon take note of. It says any dispute between the member states in terms of the act that remains unresolved. So in other words, if we're not able to resolve them at local community level, we're not able to resolve them at bilateral level, we're not able to resolve them at sub-regional level in a Mano River Union, it said any dispute we're unable to resolve for a period of more than 180 days. So then give we 180 days for actually deal with all the first local, bilateral, sub-regional. From time to time, the dispute shall be referred to settlement in accordance of the dispute settlement procedures stipulated in the Article 76 of the treaty. So in other words, now after we don't extend all we don't exhaust all this dispute resolution mechanism. First is community-wise, then bilateral, then multilateral within the region. That is only then we can go to ECOWAS for let ECOWAS get involved. So that's the dispute resolution mechanism. So what you were saying, you're right. So we get different stages. So that makes so now, first of all, then look at community level. That makes so when this thing happen, Salon send people then for go talk to now the area. Then go talk to we community people and our neighbor the boundary. But again, they not be able to engage the one on the Guinea side because according to protocol, they want and they need clearance from the superior for talk to we Salon people that we're going to the boundary. So when we foreign minister now go Guinea, then at the bilateral side, they listen to them and based on that, they're free with security. But me on point what they make, not for just free the security than this one term. Exactly. Such thing will likely occur. We still get the Yenga who are not solved. There's another video doing around in the social media where an MP from that Kisiteng area, another area where we get these disputes. So let's start by agreeing the demarcation, right? The common control zone, the bilateral agreement, all throughout with 700-kilometer boundary. For example, we present Chief Minister Weka been showing about some drone where they go showing at Jala. Why not develop that drone there? For now, begin use drone for the monitor of boundary. And we got all the coordinates them. And we're able liaise with Guinea for tell them, let them agree, say, now we don't area this. The reason why they get a common control zone and for create the buffer, so you not go get ala. So we get for define that area there, and then they go make life easy. That will be my advice. And I'm talking about this based on my experience working in these same projects on border security and border control and helping the ECOWAS for draft the manual of operation for cover the 15 countries where I've been involved in the two pilots between Benin, Cotonou, and Lagos, then Benin and Nigeria, and Togo and Ghana in a place called Nuepe. So it is a familiar territory, and that makes sure I can share my experience with Trifambul then at this program. So if you're not getting that again for us, let's go to the second part of the program when other critical issue for discuss.
Okay, before we go to that, let me check another call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you call from?
Good evening, Mr. Shilon and Domingo. Now, good evening. Now, thank you for the program again today.
Good evening, Mr. Mustafa.
I know say then a lot of people are not making their contribution towards this border problem. Now we take note of one thing. We go all Salon post in the talk say, oh, war, we know they go to war, we know one fight, or we know get ammunition. That for me, it just encourage the enemy for like do what they do. Because now remember, even who small, where some person knows say he will beat you or one time when you don't spar, it gets advantage over you. It depends about you all the time. Any way you hold it, go say, give me dandy. We don't get them at school. Then they go lunch, then they take them from we. Who small. Because somebody don't take advantage, you know, that one to get success. Me, I've been get this me money, me come be small, but the way God give me height, the man can challenge me. Now I am whap 1, 2, 3 them. Oh man, that was the neck I know. So, but this thing, I want to give example. If Guinea, we they talk about dispute. Now then nobody can dispute inside our own territory. We know a dispute inside their own territory. So that dispute will continue because they don't say who they say, oh, no go fight, we not make this. War is not about ammunition alone. It's about the mindset. Look, example now, Iran knows say America will bully them. But does that mean they are not fighting? Look, Ukraine example. They know say Russia get the upper hand over them. So they are fighting. 4 years now in effect. So that advantage we demand and not take. We get a neighbor, we get that power back, we be with neighbor. All one the freedom because mango takes of England compound with the Kelguna courts, then the freedom for Palaba. So now they cannot in this way we don't make them people they take advantage over. Because no faith, but we go there, they holy man them, they can't kidnap you, the man, then disgrace them. We then give you the man them back, we can celebrate. These are all the issues. These are all the issues where we don't get, where the guys then they continue for get advantage over we. Because if we not show, say we get bone, they will never stop. They will continue for take this, take that. This is common. Azerbaijan and Armenia, they know they will Armenia. They so they take the region at their hand. There are examples are many. So if we continue to say, oh no, let Guinea then see say we should make aggression to them. And when they see say what they can experience today, this then kill some man of them, they don't okay again. Because this year it don't come out from Yenga, now I don't go Falaba. It will come out again, go Cambia. Because I ever actually they don't take some part of Karine. How long it will continue like this? Who no more now? First of all, for don't make sure see all of that 700-kilometer border We don't get military there across that place. Inside the one camp, the meet with the man, we know that this is an aggressive neighbor. We're not going to worry about Liberia because they are not aggressive neighbors. They have to feed their own people and therefore provide for them. But Guinea, they don't care about that. They are like, I don't know who that talk, say the ruthless way you go Guinea. We all face an Guinea, the small time we're going to get Guinea. Then just they come no more. We will get the passive way be the host be. It just they come no more. You go put off the light. We make say, or you go tell the authorities say rebel and then we get our money back. Anything way the man no say he able to exploit you, he go do them over and over and over. So at the end of the talk say, if we no more begin the talk say, hey, we not get ammunition, hey, get strength past me. These guys will continue to encroach on our territory. Then we'll continue. Now we go negotiate, and then take small. Then give then give it small. That's how it's gonna be. Now this is how I'm putting the program. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa. I tend to agree with you. And but for extend your point, fighting may not necessarily be physical alone. I know they disagree with you in terms of showing some physical strength. I stand for your rights. I know they disagree with you, but we also, it doesn't seem to me we're fighting hard enough, even from the international law standpoint. We are not doing what it takes to once and for all clearly define and establish. If we're able to do that and it became settled to prevent a recurrence from which you to suggest so, it will seem for me if that alone is not enough, we should make a presence at the border, the settled border then, and some authority, security of some sort. We go show say we are mindful of any degree of encroachment at all times. But I have not even seen much enthusiasm on the part of we officials, them succeeding governments, them again, going to previous governments, for say they are interested in resolving these border issues, particularly with Guinea, at different fronts or on different fronts. You know? So the fighting or the analogy we give, yes, a bully will continue for bully you until you know say you can stand up against them. So psychologically, we're not being prepared to stand up for what we think in a will. Then and they're not to take you anywhere. And these are actual people with the talk about, because what we talk about them border here now, we're not the only talk about just a piece of land. People are living on this land, them boundary here. So it's not fair to the people and wait today, then a Sierra Leonean, then next month, then a Guinean, or then a month after that, they don't know whose nationality they are, because everybody they claim them. It's just not fair to the people. I think this is something we need for resolve once and for all. Mano River, ECOWAS, they need for take this matter and get a definitive ruling, and then we on respective countries them need for take matters seriously. So when we get a decision that is mutually agreeable, we make sure we maintain our presence there at all time. And let me also add one more dimension to that. Just because Liberia now demonstrate aggressiveness, not necessarily we should take them for granted either. The same principle will apply. Get the boundaries then clearly defined and make sure and maintain our presence there at all time. Mutually. So, but I see the governments, the respective governments have not been taking things to the level that they should be taking things and resolving disputes of that kind here. So I just want to give me your comment. I think it can be done. It should be done. I don't think it's that complicated. Like Mr. Mengot said, the main source of authority will be the home offices, the colonial offices. They will have the maps. That should be the guiding instrumentality whatever use for determining the accuracy of them boundaries there. It seems to me. Because the colonial masters, I trust them, that they probably then took accurate recording of what the things and what the boundaries are. So now I don't maybe want to add to that. Someone sent in a comment. The weak Sierra Leone soldiers have been handed over to Timothy Kaba, and some Sierra Leoneans are talking of professionalism. I'll just, I just read that. I'll just leave it alone. But you see, there's nothing to be proud of. We can't just demonstrate this kind of weakness. There's another person who said the European countries who created these borders must have the original maps with the borders on. Yes, precisely. That's what I'm suggesting. Thank you very much for saying that. That's where we need to go instead of messing around playing with these things like Yenga for over 20 or more years. This is ridiculous. And one more comment. There's another comment. Well, the only way you defend your territory is by arming yourself. This is just the beginning. No so-called international law or community can protect you. In fact, they will invade you. Well, to some extent, but we therefore respect international law and the rule of law. Only when we can't succeed or we can't agree amicably can we resort to something else. But I think there is adequate remedy now. Now, we're not pursue them to the extent that we should. But if we do, I think these matters they're not going to keep repeating themselves like that. Back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Okay, Mr. Shilo, now end up, there's another comment, if you can get down there.
Okay. Second caller on the phone, our army is in no fit position to take on the Guinea army. I may agree, but watching the second caller, they say, even when they are not. Well, first of all, what happened recently at this border should amount to violence. I mean, I think the Guinean soldiers went too far. It shouldn't have even gone as far as arresting or detaining anybody, let alone forcing them to sit on the ground. You know? I think that's way excessive, the way the Guinean soldiers react. But other than that, sometimes you get to stand your ground, even if you are in a weaker position to fight back. You can't let the guy say the Sierra Leonean soldiers cannot always assume the position of pushovers. That's all I have to say. There, go back to you, sir.
For me, so for what me get for say, I will give an analogy. And it happen. One of the main problems we'll get na salon, na land disputes, not so?
Yes, sir.
When you buy land, the first way they do for demarcate your land, now for put beacon.
Correct.
That beacon there, now in the show, who say you land there. So, and if you get money, now for fence the land. But if you not put beacon, you not put fence, you get encroachment. That is what we're doing in Sierra Leone. And also when they talk about, remember when I mentioned this idea of common control zone and power of arrest and jurisdiction. What thing we Sierra Leone government and for do, we spokesman for do, we get a military spokesman. If for lays with the Minister of Information, because the Guineans, in the press release, they show exactly who side then say they apprehend the Sierra Leone soldier. Then give a coordinate where if you check that coordinates there, it's within the area. We now in Sierra Leone, now we before come back and say no. Who side with soldier man them in there? It there within the Sierra Leone boundary.
If in fact that was the case.
So, yeah, if that was the case. So we're not able to prove, say, because in present day, if you look at as long as you not get a line of demarcation, you not get signs. You can drift go to the next country, you not even know.
Yes.
So that is where the problem is. Yeah. And if you remember, when you go, during the time themselves with the colonialism, they claim land, even between Sierra Leone and between the French and the British, for every make them bound again, and they waiting them to do. When the French then go on side, for claim ownership, the first way they do now, you flag you, they put it also.
Yes. Yes.
Well, then they happen. The Guineans then see with Sojaman and go put flag. And once you put your flag in that location there, it shows you're claiming ownership of the land.
Correct.
And the fact that you're also armed. You're armed. That is why I'm talking about the need for a common control zone, where within that zone there, we can call it a demilitarized zone. You know, they get arms within that zone there, in a common control zone. Now then in the buffer zone between the two countries, now then they will establish. So we have a lot of things to do. I've worked with other countries in West Africa. Yeah.
No, go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
I've worked in other countries in West Africa where we get a similar problem. And the example is between Lagos and Cotonou are the same. Because in Cotonou, it's a francophone country, Benin. By right, Benin for be part of Nigeria. Because you get placed in Nigeria, except when Benin state. But the same thing, they happen between Cotonou and Lagos. Where they get but they're not able to do a common boundary. The longer the treaty, now based on that experience they have been getting, now that makes sure they will get bilateral treaties where then they manage the border. But that is what we need to do. So I go left and like here, then now go now the second important topic we want to go to, where I go introduce this topic, where we hear recently, government announced say, or we get a newspaper report say, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Fantamadi Bangura, he go na parliament, he carry a proposal for say, Salon government want go into a public-private partnership agreement with a Turkish company, F&B something, where according to people that we don't check, that company there, it has not been even established for almost 10 years, for now go borrow $124 million for build waiting and call a Congress Center in Lungi. That Congress Center there, according to the report in the parliament, it forgets a presidential villa, a conference center, and high capacity conventional hall, national column. High capacity conventional hall, presidential villa, and adjoining hotel. And they say the government aim for complete this facility within 6 to 9 months. And waiting at the reason, they say now for position Sierra Leone as a premier destination for global gatherings, including an upcoming ECOWAS summit. So let's start from there. Then I will now look at the legal implication, because under we law, we get 2 laws that we just deal with. One, now the constitution of how we borrow money, and 2, now the Public-Private Partnership Act. So I will like to go through that, where I want to make family and nothing as some dangerous thing we they enter into so. Because already we don't go into a PPP agreement with the airport complex, because remember when they build the airport, they mean talk about this conference center. They mean talk about the Lungi Bridge. But then say let's start with this airport first. Now this thing not creeping. So before we go further, we are going to refer to the Constitution and the Public-Private Partnership Act, and some of the things that we'll get for consider before, because they say Parliament not ratify. With Parliament then just they ratify. And one question, when they ratify, if they are aware of certain things to do with assets, management, and with financial obligation. Over to you, sir.
All right. I mean, just for alert to people, this proposal this high capacity conventional hall. And I'm sure when they say high capacity, they talk in terms of the size and number of people it would take. Not high capacity in terms of technology and all of that. I hope that goes with it. But this remind me, because the people who they come up with them proposal here now, they need to go back and check with history. With recent history, not a very old history. In 1980, it reminded me so much because I was old enough, but I was much younger. When President Stevens came up with this insistence saying what the OAU meeting for be held in Sierra Leone. And the governor of the central bank at the time was a man called Sam Bangura. He looked into the matter. He tried to accommodate the president's ambition. He tell the president, say, we not get the financial capacity, let alone the physical capacity in terms of facilities. But the financial capacity was the main thing to host such a conference, the OAU conference. It was a big deal then. We understand, say the president never liked that. He wanted Sam Bangura to find a way for make it happen. And President Stevens was good at that because the same thing happened. I'm not going to, I'll just digress a little bit. When they went by fisheries, when fisheries came into existence, the fisheries we all know, and the Tolbert brothers in Liberia, President Tolbert, they open fisheries and they beget fisheries and they start fisheries. Now in brother James Naomi, they run fisheries for him. But when brother died in a helicopter crash, President Tolbert called President Stevens saying he wants to sell him if he can find a buyer. That's when this whole thing with Jamil Said and all kind of a thing come into it. I just don't want to go to the fact, because I know a little bit more about that. So, President, it's because in fact, the commercial bank now financed that deal there, and commercial bank had to use all their assets for fisheries to be bought because President Stevens just tell Christian Smith, say, do the best you can, and Jamil want to make sure, say, he get them. Then the fisheries at the talk about. With Sam Bangura, the OAU, when Sam Bangura said, no, we cannot afford it, it leads or led to in life being lost. He was assassinated. You know, they say government get hand on that, but the evidence is clear. He was attacked. He was killed in his home, and nobody, they're not able to pinpoint how it happened, why it happened, and what I do. Now we're about to repeat history. When we talk about a high capacity conference center, at this time, we would say we not get money. We even talk, say we have to go borrow $124 million. And we go into partnership with a Turkish company that is only about 3 years old, was established in 2023. So this Turkish company, now the public-private partnership agreement that one day we go into, where the money now borrow, this company they put anything, now borrow, we go put we own signature for borrow 124 million for build what you call a high capacity conventional hall for host a ECOWAS summit. And that conventional hall they want for build at such speed, which was the same thing for build OU village, for building at such speed that it should be completed in 6 months. This sounds to me like history to repeat itself. With the overstretch with economy, with the try to do something we would think say not go be beneficial to the country. And so we just need to sound the alarm, because most of the people within our government today, they are much too young. And maybe a lot of them are not aware that we've been through this path before, overstretching ourselves and rushing. So the OAU village was built in a rush for meet up a deadline because they want for host OAU meeting. Just like now one for host ECOWAS summit. And you ask yourself economically, how is that going to be beneficial to Sierra Leone when the conference is held and over with? So what else? How many conferences that will be financially profitable will be held in Lungi at a $124 million facility? You know? So I just want just let people know that. For say we're about to repeat, history is about to repeat itself. And most of the people making a decision now, almost all the parliamentarians, you know, are much too young to be conscious of us having been through this path before. That's all I get to say for right now. Back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Well, as I say, me on role like this, whenever they do this broadcast, I like for refer to we lost in our country. First of all, we can always hear the people that they support government say, then decision where president they take or the government they take, it is not unconstitutional. When something not be unconstitutional, that don't mean to say it's right in terms of efficacy. So now look at the constitution. Let's see what he say. Because now we go get this Turkish company when they say a PPP. First, I want to look at the constitution. For a start, if you look at the constitution, it talks about loans. Our government, section 118 of the constitution, it talks about Parliament may by resolution passed in that behalf and supported by votes of the majority authorize the government to enter into an agreement for the granting of a loan out of any public fund or public account. But it also talk about subsection 3. It said no loan shall be raised by government on behalf of itself or any other public institution or authority otherwise other than by under the act, authority of an act of parliament. Yes, the minister don't take this proposal go parliament. He don't go talk what he want to do. But for God's sake, in the interest of transparency, to start with the parliament, the website, not the workshop. For now, that agreement should be there for public domain and public scrutiny. Because why? The loan they go take on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Right? And let's see the interesting thing. It says under subsection 4 of section 108, it says an act of parliament where they make for getting loan here, if I say A, that the terms and conditions of a loan shall be laid before parliament and shall not come into action unless it has been approved by a resolution of parliament. Let's assume that it's been approved. Yeah? Because it's a simple majority. Because they say, according to the report, parliament don't ratify them. If parliament ratify, that means the parliament approve. But then he said that any money received in respect of that loan shall be paid into the consolidated fund and form part thereof or into some other public fund of Sierra Leone, either exists or created for the purposes of that loan. So in other words, if we take the loan, government for being in control of that loan day. Most of people then for saying I can't sign agreement for 124 million But now we they control the money and bill waiting I tell you for bill. That is not right. And it said Parliament shall notify by appropriate minister authority all gifts, donations, grants, and pledges made to the state of Sierra Leone. So we they urge the government to actually, one, in the interest of transparency, through Parliament, and now and they roll now, for make that agreement there open to public scrutiny, because the loan when they go take now on behalf of the taxpayer of Sierra Leone. And they say that they do it under PPP agreement. Then I can't go to the PPP agreement before I talk about that. So if you go do it on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone, and Parliament don't ratify, by rights of that bill there, if not bill to a bill and do it, the agreement should be gazetted. If it's not gazetted, if for then at the parliamentary website or information portal for let people look into it. So then at the first part, I want, if you want to comment to that, then I will go to how the law say how they deal with public-private partnership, because they're critical issue where it relates to ownership of assets, land acquisition, and if we go take that loan day, the fee, who that go to collect the fee for rental if we get for user, and for how long we get for pay that loan day back. Last stop here, then I will go into the PPP for let we look at what I will call contentious area in this arrangement. Over to you, sir.
Well, I not get much comment now here because you don't raise some of the issues. Who that go there in charge for how long the loan is going to be given, and then looking at the terms of the loan, we'll therefore be able to know more. And then with the website not working, and by inference, it appears as if they may not have even followed parliamentary procedure in presenting the bill that led to in presenting the bill. No parliamentary procedures for reach side and don't reach so, because they no gazette them, they not do certain things, but then say parliament don't ratify them. So I just make general comments, but let me see, there's a saying here, there's a thing here, somebody say, our military only has the power to deal with protesters in Sierra Leone. This is in reference to the old thing we support. Our military only has the power to deal with protesters in Sierra Leone and has no power to fight back. Yeah, your point is well taken. You may be right. Then there's another person who says, cost-benefit analysis, have they thought about it? Don't we have 3 conference centers already? I think so. But that is another comment I'm reading from we viewers or we audience. So, Mr. Mengo, let me go back to you because you've raised the point there of some of my concerns about the terms of the agreement. So we can move on to the PPP.
Okay. Now, I want to go to the PPP Act, where it talk about ownership of assets. Because why important? If we go take loan for build this conference center or complex, who owns the asset? Does it mean that the people that where they give the money where they can't bill them, now then they own them? We don't get a precedent. Now just like the airport. The airport not to get them. It is still owned by Suma group of company because now then they manage them. Now then they collect all relevant fees until we pay them back. So are we going to be lumbered with another loan of this nature? Well, I'm going to the PPP agreement. The Act. It says, Section 6. It says, a PPP agreement shall specify which assets are or shall be public property and which assets are or shall let the private property of the private partner. So in other words, they for tell you, if them people have built this one, is it going to be their own property until we pay them? Then he say any PPP agreement shall provide and identify which assets belong to the following categories. 1, assets, if any, that the private company is required to return or transfer to the contracting authority or to another authority. So then go for specify waiting, then go for put, yeah? Then you also talk about acquisition of rights related to property sites. Because of land, it says a contracting authority or other public authority under the terms of any relevant PPP agreement shall make available to the private partner, then I will, because I will not the contracting authority. We will make available private partner or assist the private partner in obtaining such rights related to the, including title, and it talk about land. This is my concern. It says if there is any compulsory acquisition of land, because government no own land in Lungi area, it will be so that our land there either be community land or private land. So now look at a contracted authority, any compulsory acquisition of land that may be required for the implementation of the project shall be carried out in accordance with such procedures as the minister may specify by regulation, provided that those persons having an interest in or rights over the land shall be paid fair and adequate compensation. So they don't tell me the land, who they get the land? They don't acquire the land. By now, even the agreement they normally what they can do in the country, they can even make exhibition. Show we the model, the architectural model of the complex. Who say I get for day? Because you are going to provide this. You take loan on behalf of the citizens, and then the citizens get for payback. Because you pay back to you consolidate the fund. And not only the only 124 million you pay back, you get for paying back with interest.
So how much is the interest?
Then you talk, how much is the interest? So they have unknown. For Parliament, for proving wrong, as people the way they raise alarm, let them make the agreement public. They will see where we will benefit from. My other concern, you go build 1,000 room hotel na Lungi. Let's say you do it for the summit. When the summit's done, almost get waiting at the number of tourists they will get for the use their hotel day. Because we build 1,000 room hotel, you not go left and dormant. You get for maintenance. And if they know they use them, they accrue any revenue. So it is a cost and a burden to the states. So let's hang on there and see if you get anything for Rob Mott with some of the issues there is.
Yeah, talking about the 1,000 room, we also, in line with what you just say, there are already competing facilities across the other side of the water, meaning in Freetown, on the peninsula area, Aberdeen, Hamilton, you go on, Laka, all them places here get competing facilities in terms of hospitality, business system. We're going to compete with that 1,000 room or 1,000 guest facility I wouldn't talk about. So, I mean, where are we going to have the flow of business? We're going to make that thing they operate profitably? Or are we just going to do this for the legacy of maybe the president, and it will not matter because, again, the reason why I say history to repeat itself, Pashaki tried to do that. Do we know him? How do we know the OAU village as part of his legacy? How many of us even know that OAU conference was ever held in Sierra Leone? And where? So I just try to remind those in the position of authority that there are many, many, many other things, if not legacy, we try to forget, where the president can focus on and legitimately be an everlasting thing with a name on it. But I think this in conference hall is just going to end up the same way the OAU situation. In fact, it's just a replica of it. It just get a different name. ECOWAS Summit, OAU Conference, just about the same thing. But at the end of it all, it is not going to turn out well. So I would just urge the government to take a second look at it. I mean, we can still hold the conference, because this is just the ECOWAS summit. If we all OAU in Sierra Leone, then when we barely could afford facilities, we could all OAU and summit in Sierra Leone at this moment without having to spend $124 million. And the public-private partnership, I'm not so sure if this is actually what was meant, to just create a company, a foreign company, let them just go in partnership with the government and then burden the country with a substantial amount of loan for some facility that we still don't know anything about. So we urge the government, like Mr. Mengot said, when I get the parliamentary website working, make the thing a little more transparent, put some more figures, and let us know the cost, the interest rate, who pays what, or what's the term, what are the terms of the loan, and what's the life of the debt. And let us see. This again in the name of progress and in the name of the country. Back to you, Mr. Mengot.
Yes, the other thing again, where the last of Motspan, because it look like this, not 3 different facilities in one. You get the 1,000 hotel room, you get the Congress, and for God's sake, why do we need a presidential villa? So if we get conference, na salon, we can forget a separate villa for the president for the day. Because if you get presidential villa, it means say you will get presidential guard. We then go there 24/7 for man that particular facility there. So we think say the government or parliament, because the onus is on parliament, because the parliament that they approve. Let we parliamentarians make sure say that agreement there is supposed for they open to public scrutiny. Because if they don't ratify already, then ratify on behalf of the people. But the people don't know, because not so then they pay. Because the parliamentarian, then why then they do their reckless here? In my own view, when you serve 2 terms of parliament, you get salary for life. Now make sure they're reckless. Now then are the only people that in the country where if you do 2 terms in parliament, when a tenure, then you live for the next 40 years, the state go to pay you till you die. So these are some of the things we get for question. So I don't think I get much more. We expect say sometime we Minister of Information, we can talk about transparency and truth to power. Go listen to we. And I know say some of the people in the information department, they listen. Let them do a favor and be more explicit and explain to we what's the benefit of this complex and why do I rush for Bila within 6 to 9 months? 2, Anybody who they give PPP, if you don't show say you don't get capacity for do similar facility, you also get the background and technical capacity for provide that. And 3, how long will it take for pay that loan and waiting at the interest rate? If the government can do that, then Parliament can do that. Then I feel to say it will prevent some of them doubts they will raise. So I don't feel like any more for talk about that. I just want to tell all the people and thank you for listening to we on then 2 important topics here. And we make sure say you know, get a safe week. And from here, I can hand over to you. I don't know what you want to say. Unless if we get another caller, we'll take one before we bow out.
Yes, I have a caller on the line. Let me go ahead and take that call. Hello, caller. What's your name? Let me say the call from.
Let me again. I just want you
All
to revert on the second segment. You know, now the only parliament this way, well, let me say parliament that's alone. Them not get any loss for bring forward. Always now the minister and any out.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting. That's a very interesting observation. But go ahead.
Them now now make it then just the cow the any way cow with then the pass them. Because the constitution talks say with parliament cow a bill na simple majority. You will protest against that, now you forget the 2/3. Now so the constitution say that's why things are not working. Because it's silly. Instead of there with the cow they need 2/3. No, they need simple majority. But you would talk say this is not good. They are not even reading through those clauses. Let me give now 2 examples. The toll road will not get any monitoring, no supervision. We don't know nothing which people they collect. That's why they make a contract. They come to the terminal. I don't know when they call them airport. The terminal, then say they spend 270. The one they will make them. So it passed now parliament. So now in the Auditor General talk say they want receipt them for sure say this thing cost 270. Parliament no one they go ask them for should present. This is the kind of parliament that we are dealing with. If you see the one they say leader of government, you're not looking face first bar. I did deal with things there. I want to see that man. If you know, I don't want to insult him, but you look, get sense. In natural, the way they look, the way they do things them. I don't know whose job if they do before you be parliamentarian. But you don't look like possibly smart. And as soon as they bulldoze their ways, forget things quickly done. So these are the people who will talk say that they go represent the people and they do oversight. And deputy back now the same. So if Parliament don't know the clauses in a contract or waiting then they sign, what do you expect the other citizens for know something about them? That is I want to make we think about. See, Salon they continue for fail because the Parliament, as long as not just partisan thing and they're backed by the stupid constitution, then they pass anything we can do. The only bill where the last parliament where now private motion or private member bill now can't even encounter we call the omnibus bill. They don't even watch them. Later then go out with the minister don't go out. So another one, he put some of the things they inside the 9 and pass. So the parliament, as for say, they don't get nothing for do their apart from ala ratify, take salary. They have nothing to do there because they don't do their job. Normally, when they say make laws, now if you make law the way they affect people lives them positively, not to know what it means that they become it, but they are not doing it. Now this I want to put towards these programs, these news of the way they talk say, because just briefly, like when you talk about what thing Stephen been do. We don't need this now. Only BU now know interest all now for ECOWAS, African Union, United Nations. If you want people are not get within that is not his business. All we think about now for rule the world. He come back like Papa way. If he pass in a street, all man they say, oh, that guy he put money in a ground and take. We kind of also begin not they were even trusted. That's the kind of man he is. Anyway, well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mustafa, for calling and be a very able contributing listener. So that comes to the end of the program for today. We thank you all we listen to we. We hope what you would say makes sense. We greatly appreciate the one that we're calling or sending comments. And we also hope we'll go see and talk again or hear each other next Sunday. So until then, good night to everyone.
Good night, everybody.